Hey everybody, what's going on? So I have a special guest today. She's sitting over there, but she's not. My daughter, come hither. Right, you're giggling. Come hither. And the doggie's around somewhere. She came to visit the doggie. There we go.
Oh wait, it's up there.
She says, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just gonna stand around and look pretty.
Yeah, basically.
And I said, that's so sexist. I did good. Right?
Maybe.
Yeah, she came to visit, so she figured, she'd stop in. She doesn't want to do any of the work, though.
No, sadly.
Yeah, she doesn't want to do it. But, we're here to do it, so we're here to do some work. Right, my daughter?
Right.
If I could teach her how to run all this stuff here, this equipment and everything, it would be nice. So I figured I would just fool around a little bit today and show off this new tool and how to deal with a really gross hood. So for those of you that have seen the preview, this thing was pretty bad. And if you've watched the other live episode, and I've got another episode coming out real soon too, on this tractor dealing with the engine. Tractor! That's all she hears, right? Like when I start talking about this stuff, she hears what my dog hears, right? Like dogs hear, like you say, walk, right? They hear, blah, 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 walk, blah, 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 frisbee, blah, 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 food. Well, she hears blah, 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 tractor. And I'll keep talking, and she'll just go, tractor! I think eventually maybe some of it'll wear off, No, she just doesn't care. Great conversation. She stops by. Her mother says, because Christina had a light on her car, right, the check engine light. And so her mother goes, well, what color was it? And Christina's like, she's like, well, I read online on the internet that there's different colors for the check. I'm like, Veronica, you gotta let that go right now. There's no different colors. It blinks a little bit more or a little bit less,
If there's a different problem with it.
Yeah, if there's like a different, which I think what she might be misunderstanding is the older one. This is OBD3. I don't really know a lot about that, but like the original OBD1, if it blinked 12 times, that was a code. If it blinked 4 times, that was a different code. You could get it to do that, and you could put it in a diagnostic scenario, and by shorting out some pins, and it would start flashing what was wrong with it. And you had to be quick. You had to be like, okay, it was like Morse code, and you had to go through it a few times to make sure, was that 13 or 12 times it flashed? And it would be like blink, 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 pause, blink, blink, right? Which is like Morse code. Anyway, as I thought I'd share that with you fellas. And of course the dog was checking her out and was like, who's this? Right? Who's this girl? Because for those of you that may not know, my daughter moved out and broke her dog's heart. And in my heart a little bit, I'm proud of it, but it's not easy to do. So she's just going to visit for a little while, and we're going to get to work. So you saw how, by the way, everybody knows I can't stay on a subject to save my life, right? I'm all over the place. I'm going to be reading the chat, and I want to say thank you to everybody. And Henry is like, everybody give us a thumbs up. Give Arch a thumbs up, right? Hit the like button. So we have it pretty shiny right now. It was really bad. So I spent some time yesterday, and I killed the battery. I ran it to the point of discharge, and just using this basic sponge that a lot of people use. Am I a detailer? No, I'm not a detailer, right? A lot of my detailing comes from my 69 Nova, which won a few trophies and whatever. So, I know how to paint, I know how to detail, but I don't do it for a living. So don't quote me on anything, because if you guys know more than I, please share, right? You might say, oh, you're using the wrong pad or the wrong stuff. So what I did was I ran this around about 5 times because it was that bad. We started off with, and you'll see that video, that'll be a separate video. I started off with 2000 grit, just on the top. There was a little bit of shine down here and a little bit over here. It was white. I had all of this off, and I have the sides off, and they're clean, waiting to go on. And you could see it was white where it was being covered, but the UV and everything made it yellow. I put some super cleaning on it first, and you'll see some of the last shots. You see that's not outside dirt, really. It's outside for a day, and it's been out, I think, in the shop for about a week, 2 weeks, maybe. And that dirt that you saw on the top was just from being in the shop. When this kind of plastic gets chalky, and the resins, gel coat, whatever you want to call it, no longer exist, especially on the tops, it sucks dirt in like a sponge. So normally what I would do is I would clean it. When I super cleaned it, like I mentioned, it you could see the yellow starting to come off of it, like it was grease, like cigarette smoke grease, right? But still, it was really bad. And normally what I would do to save time is I would spray like an automotive clear, like a 2-part on. I would just prep the whole thing, go over it, blow a very, very light coat on, let it tack, and then I would come back a little further away with the gun and I would mist on to create, not an orange field, because that's from too much paint and it kind of coagulates, but more of like a dulled industrial look to reduce modeling and hide imperfections, because you don't really want it shiny, from my perspective, because it's old, okay, and it's got imperfections, so I'm not looking to make it really mint and shiny. What I'm looking to do is just bring back some of the sheen, put a little protection on, and what the clear does, by the time I'm done clearing everything and clear out the gun, I use about this much paint. Yeah, I usually use a touch-up gun, and this is the container for it. So to cover an entire tractor, it's about this much paint, maybe. Really, I don't use a lot. Just want to check the audio. How's the audio? Yeah, the bars are going. And a lot of times I'll do it on my touch-up gun, because like I said, I'm not really trying to, it hits the plastics and everything, it makes it look good. But I know a lot of people frown on that, they may frown on it. That's a 2-part paint, it's automotive, it's got a hardener in it, and after about a week or so, maybe 2-3 weeks when it's really cured and hard, it'll resist oil and gas spillage and stuff like that. It's, in a spray can, a spray bomb, I use the Rust-Oleum products and I have videos on that. You got to use a good one there too, use an engine enamel or an automotive, but that's never going to be as hard as like an automotive style paint. And many of you guys are not comfortable with that. So I thought, all right, well, we'll go back to the old-fashioned thing, which is just shine it up. Old school, make it shiny, put a coat of wax on it. So we're going to try and do that later. So as I said, I started off with 2000 grit, and then I went just quick because it didn't need a lot. And then I went right to this, and I drove around about 5 times until the battery died. And we're going to hit it one more time, but first we're going to do these lenses here. And you can see I took this off, I cleaned it. It was really bad in here, as they usually get. It's not sealed, broken bulb. It's actually not yellow, so it's in pretty good shape. There is some scuffing on this one that you can't see because I don't have the camera there yet. So let's go to the other camera real quick, and I'll set us up, and I'll check on what's going on. Let's see here. I just want to check to see. Everybody says hi. My daughter's here too. Hi, daughter. Henry says. Robert says, well, now your 4-legged child is happy to have his human sister in the house. Yes. Big daughter says, okay, how about a thumbs up for Arch? Come on, thumbs up. Robert says, yeah. Yeah, she's a good looker. Thanks, Henry. So let me switch views. All right, you can see the scratches here. So I would let this go, but since we have the tool out, and you can't see it as well over there because the lighting's going to be a little difficult, but you can see some of the shine. You can see the light reflection over here. You would have never seen that before. And we're going to lower it down in a bit, but I figured we would just start off just with the 2000 grit, and we'll attack this lens. So let me set up for that. But just so you guys can see a little bit more about what I'm doing. So I'm going to pull off this pad. I'm going to use one pad. Now, I'll have a video out on this, and you'll see, wow, it really goes on there. All the stuff that comes in the kit, which is a separate video. And you get this nice little smart, too, which it should say Archer's Garage on it. You know, I thought they would have put, like, SmartSaker. So you guys can go to www.smartsaker.com, and if you're interested in a tool like this, it does feel, after using it for a couple hours yesterday, it feels very good, actually. Put this on here. It's not a light tool. It's not heavy, but it's not light. It feels good in the hand. The battery is 2,000 milliamp hour. And on the live stream that I did on some tools, we were talking about that. I mean, my big battery for my drill is 3,000. So for a small battery which is locked in very well. All right, it really feels nice. It's the end of the handle. It feels real nice in the hand, and it seems to run good. Now, I finished up this on high speed, but we're going to drop the speed down to put a little bit of, a little bit of surface on this here. So let's see how it works out. I'm going to start off with wetting everything down, and let's zoom in. Try to make this quick. Okay, I don't want to overfill this with light. All right, a little bit of, this is a bit of soapy water for some lubrication. And I'm going to drop that speed down a little bit, just to remove some scratches. Well, that's not bad. A little bit more. You want to keep it somewhat lubricated. All right, let's see how that is. You don't want to get crazy with it because it is sandpaper. It's going to be a little noisy, fellas, so you might want to drop the volume on your player a little bit. All right, let me just get a rag. Take a look. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we got it. Now, let's see if we can put a shine on it, okay? 2000 grit's really fine. So I'm going to go back to, hold on. All right, we're going to go back to the buffing pad, which has some compound in it already from yesterday. So just pull it right off because it's Velcro. What are you laughing at?
Nothing.
What? What is it?
Nothing.
Why?
I'm not. You didn't hear anything.
I heard something. What are you laughing at?
Nothing.
Yeah, there's always something going on. Yep. We're going to use some 3M. This is a Super Duty rubbing compound, so this stuff is more aggressive. So we'll start off with that. And let's see how it does. I'm just going to put a little bit on. And we're going to wet the bonnet a little bit with the same spray. Now let me rub this on here a little. And we'll bring it in close in a minute. Now we're going to go a pass on the speed I'm at, which is about 4, and then we're going to go full blast. It's a little dry. Mix enough. Let's put some more liquid on it. Still dry. Normally I kind of rinse them. Alright, let's go full blammo. Let's just see what one pass does. Now we're going to up the speed. Let me get you in close and we'll finish up.
Dad, Mikey said instead of buffing the tractor, I'm going to drop off my car and give you something to do.
Nice! That Mikey! What are you doing? Full speed. All right, let's check our progress. Makes a mess, this stuff. Oh, yeah. So keep in mind, this will have to be washed, too, with a hose. But if I have to take it back off, yeah, because it kicks in underneath. So we'll shove the hose in there later. But you can see, yeah, that looks nice. So if yours were like really yellowy and scratched,
Why don't you do this to my headlights on my car?
because you didn't ask. All right, we got to keep going, right? It's still, see how it has a bit of a haze, so we'll have to put a little bit more on and work it a little bit longer. But let's try a different product and see. Takes a lot. If yours, I would have left these. I wouldn't have touched them because they were really good, and it's very hard to buff plastic. Very hard to get it back. But if yours are really beat and yellow, well, then it's a different story. Now, let's try this product. It's a little bit different, a little thinner. Oh yeah, it's getting there. Let's check progress. Oh yeah, that product did a little. Like I said, it's a little bit of a thinner compound, and you see how the shine's starting to kick back, and it's more translucent. It's not transparent yet, but I don't know if you'll ever get to the original look of it. It's very hard to do plastic. Let's try something else. And of course, a lot of it has to do with how long you work. Now, the correct thing to do is, when I go around the whole thing one more time, is then to either wash out the pad or, you know, get a new pad. So let's kind of back you out a little bit. What? Are you playing with the car? There's another view of it. So you can still see it's a bit hazy. So I'm going to try this product that's been sitting around. Now, this I got from Summit years ago, and it is a little bit more thin than the product I just used, which is a turtle wax rubbing compound. And again, we started off with the Super Duty, which is going to leave scratches for sure. It's really good for cutting off. Like if you're refinishing a car and you wet sand it and you've got, well, 2,000, you might start off with 400, 600, 800, then maybe go to 1,000 and 6,000. Depends upon whether you cut an orange peel or you just maybe want to tune up everything. You might start at 1,000 grit. So it really depends. If you want to get rid of some of those sanding scratches, you're going to need like a heavy duty. If there's a lot of scratches in the paint and you don't want to touch it with sandpaper, you're going to want the heavy duty. I probably would have been better off starting with something very, very light. And this is much lighter than the 3M. And now we're going to try something even lighter. But off camera, when I'm done later, or tomorrow or Monday, whenever, when I go to do the finish, I might, like I said, clean up everything, clean up the fresh new pad. Full speed. let's check progress. Now I'm pushing it. I'm going a little faster than I would normally go. And I think, Monday or whatever, when I bring this thing out for its final cleaning or just a quick rinse, I might finish up with, like I said, a fresh pad. My concern is always like the compounds and stuff, when you get them on like black plastic, usually it's more like the black rubber. I may even just take this off. Now, getting these lenses out on this LTX 1040 Scrub Cadet, that's a nightmare. I don't have to tell you, that would have been a separate video. I tend to heat them up a little bit. You heat the snaps up just a little bit. Keep your heat gun far away, just to like make them a little bit softer, and then stick a screwdriver in and try to get them out. To do it, you need to take this grill off. You cannot get to the lenses properly without taking the grill off. So I may just take the grill off later on anyway and just wash it out one more time just to get all this residue. But you can see. Now there's no more scratches on this. Let me bring in close. The scratches are gone. The only scratches there are the ones I just put. Yeah, and you can see how it's more hazy than that one? So best thing to do would have been to start off, this one's really scratched, would be to start off with something that is a much lighter compound. And I would have to work this longer. But like I said, if you have an issue where your lenses are really yellowed and scratched, and I have quite a number of them. I've got some of these lenses up over there. They're like really beat. The old Craftsman lenses. I don't know if I could get it. I don't think I can get to it. I'll have to get a step stool. I'll get that later. But that's not bad at all, really. I mean, if they were really bad and you got them to this point, somebody would look at that and go, oh, wow. The harder the plastic, the more difficult it is. Let's run it a little bit longer. And I think I'm going to use this stuff. Right? Try to get into the camera view here, this is a turtle wax. Let me run it one more time and see how it picks up. Yeah, I need a new bonnet. I need a nice clean bonnet for this. I think what I'll do is I'll change bonnets for a final. Oh yeah. Yeah, there we go. See, now it's starting to kick up. Yeah, it's getting better. See if I can get you in a little tighter. I'm trying to get it so that you can see more of the one than the other. Let's change bonnets. Try something different. I'll catch up to you guys. See if anybody's saying anything. Let's see. So Mike says, instead of buffing the tractor, I'm going to drop off my car and give you something to do. That's what my daughter said. Bravo says, took a short Forrest Gump ride on it last night. Nice. And Bravo says, crap. Last matches didn't show. Done with the old snapper. Be back at halftime. Alabama's playing an early game against Arkansas today. Looking good, TGM Forum says. So now we'll just do a quick change. This is fresh. I haven't used it, and this is the waffle type. Not really the one I want, but another thing we can try is this pad, which is a nice furry pad. So maybe we want to try that one. And we'll just hit it one more time. What are you doing, daughter? Why don't you try this? Don't you want to get dirty?
No, not really.
No? Let's try this one. Just to see. Takes a little bit to get it on. Alright, here we go. Let's wet it a little bit. Make a little slurry out of it. Rubbing compound and polish. So this has got more of a polish in it. Although I could have mixed some junk into this over the years, you know. I would do that. The Nova's paint was sometimes difficult to deal with because it was a clear coat over a color coat, and you got to be real careful with that. And eventually I re-cleared the car. I think that helped out a lot. Whatever I do now, I got to make them both look the same. Right? So if I screw one up, we have to screw the other one up. Because otherwise somebody's going to look at it and go, what did you do? What did you do over here? Would you screw that up? And I can say, yeah. Oh, well, here we go. Oh, fellas, look at that. Let's get you in closer. That's starting to gleam. So yeah, there you go. All right, let me get you in. A little bit more time. Yeah, it's getting closer. Definitely getting closer. So I think what we should do is just hit this other lens with just the polish compound that we're working with. But that definitely looks good. It needs more work here. I can see it. Yeah. Let's try the other one. Let's screw up the other lens. Let me move you. Now there's not as much light over here, unfortunately. And I can try different pads. No, that got rid of a lot of the scratches that were on here. Oh yeah. Oh wow. Yeah, that's all we really needed. Yep. Now there's some scratching on the inside. There's actually some abrasion from the dirt, and that inner lens kind of folded up a little bit and dirt accumulated here, and then the bulb fell off because it broke and it rattled over here, and it actually caused this sort of milky opaque hazing from the inside. And I could try to get that out. If I were going to do it, I would do it with something like this and the compound I just used, but this is too big to try to attempt something like that. You'll hit the snaps. And from that angle, that looks real good. And the both of them together, this needs more work over here. So I'm going to have to work that just with a clean polishing, bonnet, like the one that we're using right now. This one could use maybe one more pass, but for the most part, the scratches that were on it are gone. So just from this test, we can see, unless you're like really yellow, in fact, here, let me see if I can get it. My daughter's over there. Let me get a stool. I'll show you some of the ones that I'm referring to. I'm just going to interrupt you for a second.
Rude.
Yeah, just move the chair over a little bit. I just want to grab these lenses. Now that I'm thinking about it. Just real fast.
Oh, man.
Yeah. These are really bad. Now this is an example of what I was saying. So when you have lenses like this, they're yellow, they're filthy, they're scratched. This is common on almost all of the Sears Craftsman tractors, and the ones that I like. And I have a few. I've been trying to collect them. I got more outside. They're not broken. The tabs are good. You would need to super clean them, get all the grease off. And then something like this, I would hit with the 2000 grit. They make even finer grits, but that's even more money. And then I would go with progressive compounds. The question would be, is though, on this really hard plastic, is this tool really spinning fast enough? For paint, yes, but for plastic, it may not. These are so bad that anything that you do to it is going to make it better. If you're starting off with a lens that looked, fairly good, but just is scratched, I wouldn't touch it with sandpaper, because it's going to take you longer to remove some of these scratches that I put in there. And if you're starting off with a heavier compound like we did initially, which this had the heavier compound on it because I used it on here, right? You're going to be imparting some scratches into it as well. But you just change your pad, and then what's my daughter do? What do you see what my daughter looks like right now? You change your pad and you go to a nice fine pad and keep rolling. We could try this pad, or I'm not ready to wash this one out yet, so this is the one that usually you would put more compound on it, and it kind of holds the compound for you. So overall, not too bad. Come over here. She's getting ready to leave. Let's say, let's stand over there. All right. She's doing her hair today.
Oh,
she just got it done.
This is embarrassing.
And she wants to walk out no, it's not, because my mom used to put wigs on. She used to put curlers on, right? And you guys remember that? And your parents do that, like your moms? She'd go out. My mom, when she would do her hair up really nice or have it done, it cost money, a lot of money.
Yeah.
And she would before she went to bed at night, she'd wrap her head in toilet paper and then put this thing on her head. Anything she could do to keep her coif, right, that she spent all that money on, right? And, so that your grandma was very pretty, so, like you, right?
Any hoosies.
All right, my daughter's out of here, fellas.
Adios.
Let me say goodbye. Yay! All right, sweetheart.
Bye.
I'm glad you stopped by. Give me a hug. Hug your mother, because, she gets upset. Right? Hug the doggy.
Uh-huh.
Nice! Let me throw the other camera on real quick. Hold on, let's see this thing. Catch up to you guys. Since I'm fooling around today. This is a cell phone, so if anybody wants to play around or whatever, and you're looking for an extra camera, and I tell people this all the time, it's not great, okay? It doesn't look perfect. It's a cell phone. It's all the way over there. It gives a nice broad view. And it's just, in case I want to move a camera, and this happened one of the Saturday night shows, I think it was. I was doing something, and the fellas wanted to watch some movies and do some other stuff like we like to do on some of these lives. And they're like, Arch, we want to go check out some other stuff. So I was like, all right, well, we're going to have to test out my plan. Is like, what do you do if you... I needed to take 2 cameras offline that night, or day or night, whatever it was. I needed to take the good one with the microphone on it, and I needed to take this one that's you're seeing over here. And all I had was the crappy one. But I was able to do it. I was able to set everything back up. I moved some stuff around so the signal was never lost. And then you get to fool around and have some fun. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to like leave this the way it is, just the way it is right now. I'm going to come back to it and try to bring it closer to the other one. But I want to just lower this down and go over this thing one more time with a lighter polishing compound, just to get away from this. Because this we really needed to get, instead of like relying on sandpaper, we really needed something heavy to kind of get, well, it was like getting the nap off, right? It's like trying to get nap off of something. That's how bad it was. Let me switch cameras. All right, that's better. Let me see if anybody commented. I don't think anybody's watching. Yeah, you got a few people. So I think this is more of the polish, which is what we'll finish up with. And like I was saying, you can see, you know, when you're starting off with something like this, you can't screw it up. And what I wanted to mention again is I can't polish in the inside here. I would need to use a different set of tools that are much smaller, because the tabs that penetrate through, they're real close to where the scratches are on the other side. And I would be afraid to hit that, and you hit it and you're going to break it. It's a brittle, very brittle, kind of hard plastic. Let me put these down out of the way. All right, let me just straighten up real quick. And I just want to go over the whole thing quick. Just a fast pass, just to try to get a little bit more of a sheen with a more of a polish. And I think I'll rinse out this pad just quick, just to get the gack off of it. It seems like the tool is pretty decent. It doesn't yield. You know, it doesn't lose power. Even if I press hard, it doesn't seem to lose any power. So I would say overall, if you had a couple of batteries, you could get through a much larger project. Let me put this on. We're going to save this pad for later. And again, my other concern is I'll probably have to do this outside, but we got to wash this stuff out that's behind here, or I'll take it off. And maybe I'll treat this with a little bit more super clean, see if we can get off any of the compound that's on there, because that's always a pain in the neck. Now I'll bring this outside real quick and spin it, because it's going to sling. All right, we're good. Now while I'm here and I have it up, I'm just going to hit here, here, go around the other side, and then we'll lower it, and I'll hit the top, wipe it down, and we'll check to see what it looks like. And then I'll finish up with one more product, which I'll have to put on here when I'm done with that, which is, this is a 3M Imperial hand glaze. This is really what brings shine to stuff. It's really meant for hand glazing, but we're gonna use it with one of the buffing pads just to kind of clean everything up. Quick slurry. Oop, right away, man. Switch. Let's get some more on. It's thin. Yeah, this stuff is a little too thin, a little too wet. Just work it a little longer. That's good. And once more on the headlights. I think it's starting to lose a little power. No, it's all right. All right, let me lower it down. And we'll get to the top, and then that's that. And then I'm going to put this polish on. Yeah, the fartiness isn't the buffer. Hey, Bleach. No, the fartiness isn't the buffer. The fartiness is the vibrations of the plastic. Let me re-aim the cameras. That's a bit of a better view. All right, last pass. Well, I gotta say, so far, you know, doing a small project like this, there's enough power on one battery to get you through it. But then the recharge time is forever, so you'll have to get a second battery for that. Almost. And this should just tighten it up a little. All right, that's it. Not too bad. All right, let me just pop this battery on charge in case I want to use it again. It's not dead by any means. There is a bit of a power indicator over here, but I think it's a little confusing. When it's got one bar of red, you're almost done. When it's flashing red, it'll still work, but it'll start dropping down. but just to keep things moving, I'll keep it charged. Yeah, so when it gets down to like a flashing red, you're basically done. And then it'll, like typical batteries like that, it'll just stop. Yeah, we'll probably take this back off to clean it. Alright, let's just check our shine. And the last step is that sort of hand glaze. When I'm outside, when I bring it outside, I'll check it. Because I'm going to have to rinse the tires off or whatever. That's a separate day. It's raining out now. Let me rinse my rag, give it one more wipe. Oh yeah, that's definitely much shinier. Oh God, yeah. Oh my goodness. All right, let's dry rag it. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. Those lenses are starting to look very close to each other. All right, let's switch cameras. Let's see. Bleach says, hi everybody. The Shine, Cubby Shine. Yeah. Yeah, the Cub-Cadet. Let me drop the ISO a little bit on it. On this camera, the gain. Yeah, it's still a little bright, but I'll drop the gain a little bit more. But I can now see things in this. I mean, if I hit it again, it would be really good. But we're going to go to the Imperial Hand Glaze. And I might just put the Imperial Hand Glaze on the polishing pad and just run it in fast. To get whatever residual polishing compound is on there. And the glaze kind of impacted in. But yeah, you totally can see it now. I mean, this is a shiny hood that looks really good. These are looking good. Everything looks good here. Maybe one more pass on that to kind of equalize. And you'll see it in a future video when I really have the thing all detailed. But you can start to see, right? So this one is coming very close now to that guy, right? Very, very close. It's almost right with the other one. And so, yes, you can, if you work a little bit at it, have some different pads, and are willing to just spend... I didn't spend all that much time either. I really didn't. It seems like a lot because it's a boring live show. But I think as a demonstration... Let me go to... What's nice, too, is I can use some of this footage in the final video. All, you know, all cut up naturally, but... Let's pull this off. All right, so I'm going to pull this one off. This still has some of the old heavy rubbing compound embedded in it. You got to let it soak for a while. Honestly, you should never really mix pads. right? Because then you don't really know what your results are. But, you know, the lawnmower. It comes with quite a bit in the kit. So there's plenty to work with just to get you started. Doc says, is this the same machine you were doing engine work on last live? Yeah, and there'll be a lot more videos too, Doc, on that. Let me switch back. Yeah, it's the same machine. Yeah, there'll be more videos coming out on that. Going through the motor. That's going to be a few parts because I don't want it to be any more than like 20 minutes or a half hour. Going through the motor, kind of get that running again. A lot of problems with these machines. That's still a little bright, but I can't help it. This camera is actually running in automatic. Just because the day is rainy, there's, you know, I have the windows in here, but it's not helping us out. It's just, you know, in automatic mode, you're not going to get the best results. But it's just easier. So, yeah, there's a lot to this machine. It's running good now. I'm almost done with it. I'm going to finish this up. Later on, I'll take this back off and I'll just rinse it and see. If not, I'll have to take everything back apart. That was my concern, was getting these lenses out. There was so much crud inside, and you can't help it. You're going to get crud back in again. A hose might do it before it dries. So if I take this piece off, it's just bolted in. Throw it in the slop sink and rinse it, see what happens. If it all comes off, great. If it doesn't, I'll have to pop the lenses back out. Which scares me because you feel like you're going to break the tangs. These are not as nice as the Craftsman's, right? Craftsman lenses come out pretty easy. These are a different kind of a plastic. By the way, I like this. I like these mowers. They're automatic. They're very easy to use, very comfortable. They're very sellable too because it's automatic. Put it neutral, put it in front, forward, and put it in reverse, and then press on the right pedal, and it'll kind of even brake itself, although you have a separate brake. And it's just very easy to use, and the further you press, the faster it goes. So, and it goes fast too. This thing goes fast. Now, I don't know if these are Tough Torques. I don't know what transmission's in here. I don't know anything about it, but if you've got one that's like 10 years old, my recommendation would be is take the transmission out, deal with it, right? Look into people that have done it. I tried getting this rear tire off. It's stuck on the spindle, on the axle, as is usually the case. I was like, heck with it. I'm not going there. This is just for sale and for some videos. But if I were to keep one, you got to get those off. You're going to have to make some kind of a puller. You could make an adapter for your banger gun, right, for the air hammer, but it's got a bolt in the center, so you'll balk the threads. And one of the fellows saw me doing that on a Craftsman, an older Craftsman, and it just has like a little indent in the axle, and it's got a C-clip. So I pulled the C-clip off, I showed that, and then I showed lubricating it, and then I showed trying the banger gun, right, the air hammer, and I pulled on it and it came off. Well, he must have had a transmission like this. He took the bolt out, put the air hammer blunt nose in there, and banged on it, and proceeded to just bork all the threads. And I don't even know if he got the tire off, rim off. You're gonna get yelled at for something if you're doing it long enough. All right, real quick, let me grab I want to make a quick pass, and then I can, if anybody has any questions. I'm going to be sort of mulling around the shop a little bit in this, just to try to get, a little further on this project. But overall, the chassis are nice. What's nice about these is that as a used machine, they are a little bit newer than some of the old Craftsmans. I think I just put up some video in one of my live shows of a Craftsman that my daughter helped me get. Mikey knows some of these people now. I think she said they were all together at some of the meets this weekend and the other night. They got like bonfires going and racing and all kinds of stuff. They're really cool. I'm too exhausted, but I wish, right? A lot of the older tractors that I like, lawn tractors, are the Craftsmans. I just got set up with one that's really sweet and clean. It's got a Briggs, 16 or 17 horsepower overhead valve. And I got it for a good deal because it looks like the motor has no compression, which was the problem with this. Usually on the Briggs, a valve gets stuck. If the engine sits for a really long time, and I think he got it to kick, he thought it was in the carburetor. I think they hooked up a car battery or jump started it. He said it kicked once and then didn't do anything. Now, either he broke something and it ate the valve, or because it was so stuck, and usually what I'll do is I'll spray some lube in there, pull the plug out. It might have fired once or twice, and through one of the valves open, and it stayed. And I don't think those motors are interference motors. I've never seen one really totally eat a valve. My guess is if you take the rocker cover off and massage it a little bit with a hammer and some lubricant, it'll probably come right back. You know, Briggs, right? Whereas that was not the case with this one, right? I'm going to think over here somewhere I have it. I don't want to get my hands dirty, but hold on. Okay. I left it like this, right, for now, because like there's no point in me doing anything, but as we can see, focus, it ate the valve seat. Let me try the other camera. It's trying to focus on the furthest thing. Yeah, that's the valve seat. So I got Mikey's tractor. That does look good, right? Let me put this back. So I have two of these. This one's mine, and I used Mikey's. Isn't that pretty? I think I'm pretty. Let me drop the ISO down a little bit more. Yeah. There's a lot of shine on it from the lights over it, and you could see she's shiny. Let's see if we drop it down a little bit more. Oh yeah. Yeah, there's the shine. Compared to what it was. But anyway, like I was saying, is Mike's tractor is, that's the one where, these are the bucket engines. That's the one where it had this god-awful noise. And I actually show some of that in an upcoming video. You can hear it as I'm spinning it over by hand. It's like clicking and everything. It was really bad. But it ran. And so I was like, well, if it ran, then the head must be okay. Well, yeah, kind of. Somebody was in it. And they broke a bolt on the exhaust manifold, right in the head. And there was some other crazy things going on. This one, the transmission wouldn't shift. The rod, that connection rod for it was bent. I don't know what happened, okay? People are rough with things. Who knows? But once I rebent the rod and lubricated the thing that goes inside the transmission, the actuator, it worked. And I drove it around. It works fine. Mike's, the rod isn't bent, but it will not go into gear. It's just jammed. The deck lift, which is on the other side, both they're cable operated, right? Everything is basically cable operated. It's kind of neat the way they do it. That cable seems to be jammed. This one was kind of jammed, but it did move a little. Freed it up, it's fine. Everything was just stuck and filthy. His, I think the cable is really jammed, and one of the deck spindles is totally jammed, and the other one, it needs spindles, okay? Which there goes the price, right? And the motor's no good. So I said, well, it's going to be a parts tractor, and maybe one day we'll put another motor on it. We'll put a Briggs motor on it, but I'm still going to have to get blades for it. I did steal the blades off of it. They were okay. I'm going to have to get blades for it. We're going to have to deal with whatever's wrong with the transmission. We got to put a motor on it. I need cables. It's got I think 2 tires that are kind of iffy. They go flat. You know, they're 10 years old at least, and you can clean them up. The chassis are nice. It doesn't need any like paint or anything. But with these Courage motors, and I asked this question: is it really worth? Rusty Rooster brought up a good thing the other night. Is it even worth doing? Like, should you do it? Just because you can do it, Arch, and fix it, should you? Because it's a lot of time. I don't know. You know, Henry has got like a complete expose, probably one of the better videos out there. It's a video series on how to rebuild one of these. He had a crack. I think he had a puncture from a rod or something that went. I don't remember now. I haven't seen it in a while. But he fixed that. He welded it. Very common for the motors to crack in the front on the top of the bucket, right? Where the sump is actually the top. All right, that's the bottom of the block, is at the top of the block. It cracks there. The bolts loosen up. They hit the flywheel. I don't know. I mean, it's a good question. And this is what's going to be out there, fellas. You know, in the last video that I did that you didn't see yet, is I asked the question, and then I mentioned, this is what you're going to find out there today. Like, say, put another motor on it, but some of those motors, I have a whole bunch of them, and I need to go through some of my old tractors. The problem is, these are like Vintique motors now, right? The older Briggs motors. I got the twin cylinders, the opposing twin cylinders, I call the boxer engines. I got the single slugs. I got the smaller slugs. I got the bigger slugs. I got I got the V-twins. I got a whole bunch of stuff. Yes, the V-twin is the newer one. So that you're going to run into, but it's a big motor. Is that too big for this? I don't know. What trannies did they use? I don't know what the differences are, right? So let me see if I can catch up with you fellas. Is Brett here? Let's see. This is Doc says, looking good, my man. I believe the axle is a square style. Here, let me just change the camera view a little bit. Let's see. Play around. This way you guys can kind of see me mulling about the shop a little bit more. The problem with this camera here, the cell phone, is it doesn't look as good, and I can't see it on my preview monitor. But it's aimed at me staring at this, which you would not see at all. Let's see. Brett says, hi, folks. What's up, Brett? Doc says, looking good. Mailhouse says, I believe the axle is a square D style of axle, like the one that is on the Powercraft mower. Yeah, Robert, you would know. This is hi to Brett. Brett says, looking great, Uncle Arch. Bleak PC says, goodness, potato chips. Nice. Yeah, those are good. Yeah, send some over here. Pumpkin spice Oreos. Oh. No, you don't put pumpkin in anything except for even pumpkin pie is like a once in a season kind of thing for me. I just don't like pumpkin. It's gross. You ruin Oreos by doing that. Johnny Rose says, there's no such thing as a motor that is too big. Yeah, that's my man. Well, you know, if I were to keep one of these, like I was thinking about this, because everybody said, well, Mikey always says to me, you want to keep everything. I'm like, look who's talking. All right, this guy's got so many cars and trucks. Granted, he does sell them. He'll keep a lot of them for a while. He's got his pick of the lot, right? I used to be like that years ago, too. But, you know, it's comfortable to use this machine. It's got a nice seat. You're talking about just going out for a little while, cutting the yard, having some fun. Is it nice to do on a vintage machine? Yeah, hell yeah. But, you know, like my Sunstar, I got to service that deck. That deck is falling apart. Its days are numbered. I've got that other Sunstar to work on for that customer. And I keep selling these things, right? So, because I got to earn money, right? I got to make money. So, Brett says, yeah, go with the opposed Briggs twin. That's mine, okay? That doesn't go on anything for a customer, all right? So whatever it goes on, I only have one. Maybe two. I don't remember, but that's why I got to go look. But that's really mine, because I've got the opposed twin, well, Kohler, it's not a Kohler Courage, right? It's the Kohler, well, actually, no, hold on, wait. I got a Kohler Command out there on a John Deere with an automatic, right? That's kind of neat. You know, that might be nice. And then I've got the Magnum on the Sunstar. So that's never leaving. But its days are limited as a cutting thing. I got to get to that deck, and that's going to disable it. So I need like I need some kind of like other machine to just hop on and go cut the lawn. Because I always want to do it with the push Honda. As much as I like the Honda, the Honda, I get tired. I'm on my feet every day, all day long. And it is really nice to sit on a tractor. And even though I don't have a big lawn, it's just nice. Because that frees my energy levels up, because I'm getting older. Then I can weed whack, I can maybe prune a little bit, I can maybe do a little work in the garden, right? I can blow with the blower, because I have all that extra energy walking this yard doing all of that, because I just cut the whole lawn in like 15, 20 minutes or a half hour with a riding tractor. So there's huge benefits to this stuff. Yeah, the opposed Briggs, yeah, Red says. Robert says, I got the oil changed on my Craftsman Tractor Cola Pro engine. It was a fun job. Nice. See, those are nice engines. And like Rusty said, is it worth working on a Courage? Well, there's a lot of them out there. Taro works on them. He doesn't, he says it's like, they're kind of crappy, but the customer, if the price is in the right range, and the customer wants you to fix it. Like I said to Mike, he's like, why don't you put another motor on it? I said, well, I would, but I got all these motors laying around. I said, I don't know which ones work or which ones don't. I don't know which ones are parts motors. So that's another thing coming up this winter, is try to go through some of this stuff, and I want to make a proper run-in stand for the bigger motors. I've got run-in stands for the smaller motors, but we need something for the big motors, and I have an idea. Yeah, Cola, the Magnum is the opposed twin. It's like I was saying to my buddy Rob when he was here, and I think I was talking about that a little bit on the live. He looked inside the motor, and he's just a hot rodder, really. He looked inside the motor with the head off, and he's like, oh my God, that's big. Why is it so big? Let me change camera. I'll leave this one for now. He's like, why is it so big? It's so damn big, it's one slug. He's like, how do you balance it? I said, I think, Brett, you said it vibrates the crap out of itself, and they fall apart. Yeah, because it's got a balancing thing on the end of it. I forget what they call it, but it's this huge balancing thing that has to balance this motor. It's not efficient. It's efficient to make, I guess. But it's not efficient, and there's no longevity to them. And there's no good quality control either. He says, watching the new Pet Cemetery Bloodline. What is that, a movie? Yeah, Magnum is opposed twin. What do you short live tonight? Yeah, I might do a short live. Yeah, right. Taro swears at him. Is that as she said joke? Exactly. So let me just go buzz the top of that, and then we'll finish up the video. Let me change camera angle. Yeah, see, I have no way of really darkening this because it's in automatic mode. No, I'm not waving at you. I'm just checking. Hi! No, I'm just checking focus. Let's switch cameras. Yeah, I'll just finish this up real quick because I want to see the final shine. And then tomorrow, or Monday, let's see, Bray over at Chicanic's moving to a new shop. Nice! Yeah, because now they got the coin from all the success. Good for her, right? She worked hard at it. Her and her husband. All right, I'm going to spray it up a little bit just to get it wet, right? Damp, because we really didn't wet it. We're going to stay with the this white bonnet, and I'm going to go over it really, really quick with this stuff. This is like a hand glaze, but we're going to use it as an additional polish. And yeah, you can put it on by hand. Like I said, they have two versions of it. One of them, I forget the name of the one that I used to use. It's white, and I'll think of it later, but it's for machine. But you could use this as a machine. Just quick, just to pound it in. Now, when they say hand glaze, what they mean is you don't apply it like a wax. What they actually mean is you've got to rub it. Rub it! All right, a little bit more down here. And then we got to put a wax on it. Because it's not going to do you any good to do all of this without some kind of protectant. Put a little bit more on this. Just a little. I'll hit this guy. All right, that's it for that. Let's wipe it off. And then towel dry it. You can also towel dry this without wiping it off. But I find this a bit extra on here that it's just kind of fudge up your towel. Yeah, and I'll have to work on getting this cleaned up. And that'll be tomorrow or Monday when we finish it. Now, to save time, I'm not going to towel dry it. I'm going to put some new finish on it. And it's not as shiny. What I found with the Nova was that, let me just check the chat. I just looked up SmartSaker polish on eBay. Dang, it's not cheap. Yeah, it's not expensive though either. He thinks it's... There you go, good job. Husband needed hip replacement, yeah. Yeah, oh my God, that's a horror. Oh, what's up, Rob? We're just talking about you. You have to go back and listen. That's my friend Rob, fellas. The one I was just talking about when he looked at the cola slug and what he said. I actually quote it in a video that's coming out, and I make sure that at the end I give credit to you, Brett, and Rusty, and my friend Robert, and Henry, and whoever else, and Bleach, right? You're in there too. That video's not out yet. But yeah, that's Robert. That's the one, my friend Walker, that's the one who looked at that motor with the head off and goes, oh my God, when I told him about like my Magnum, he was like, yeah, that's much better. I'm like, yeah, you get higher RPM. It's you can easily balance it. It's more naturally balanced. Just a better motor. Let me catch up. Yeah, okay. Sounds like the beginning of many Black Sabbath. Yeah, there's Brett says. Bleach PC, I'm live Chickaddick. Pet Cemetery is on the Paramount app. It takes place in 1979. I think I saw that one, yeah. Yeah, Bleach is Love and Not Live. Two Roberts now. Yeah, hey y'all. So yeah, now we're just gonna go to the new finish. So what I found with the Nova is there was like one part of my life where when I really hurt my back bad and I couldn't do anything, right? So the Nova had won like, I don't know, a trophy or two, whatever it was, and it was left outside underneath the cherry bush tree. Yeah, and they rained down on it and it sat like all season long, like to the next year. And it broke my heart. There was nothing I could do. I could barely move. I was just still trying to work and take care of my daughter. And of course, nobody ever thought to cover it for me, right? So like the next season, I wanted to go do a show, and I think that was a show I won second place. And my friend Elizabeth helped me. She actually got in the trunk and was like cleaning around everything. She helped me rub it out. And it doesn't sound right, I know, but you know, I mean, oh jeez. Anyway, so we got it had stained so bad, and what I was using was like a lot of mother's waxes and stuff. They bring up an awesome shine. And after all of that, I'm like, I don't want shine, okay? I don't need ultimate shine because I can't keep it. I can't physically do it. So I started putting on new finish. I even use it on my van. It doesn't get as shiny. It's not a wax. It's a chemical coating. And lo and behold, that car sat out, or it was in the shop, in the garage, and it was out. And I could just kind of, you know, on a day that was nice, sometimes I would buff it a little bit, but most of the time, just a good, you know, wash down and maybe a little bit of like a polish and then more of the new finish. I didn't have to put a machine to it until I recoated it with some fresh clear and fixed a few issues. I found that stopped the staining. It stopped a lot of the infusion and infiltration into the paint. And like I said, it's not as shiny, but I didn't have all the issues that all the other waxes would just burn off outside. All right, so let's just put a little bit on. And then we'll wipe it off and see what it looks like. This stuff is getting old, so we might as well use it up. Well, this is why I like to put clear. You know, because overall it looks good. Does it look as nice as this? No. No, not really. I gotta say, it doesn't. You can already see. And this way it's on, and then I can chat for a bit, catch up while it's drying. You need to let it dry a little bit. And they actually say, I think it was 2 applications, and you're supposed to wait for the polymers in here to basically lock in, and they lock into each other. And then you put another application on. I never actually did that. I found it worked pretty good just with 1 application. I might have done it once or twice on the Nova for like a deep, long extended period of time, because it would even get crap on it from being here in the shop. And though I did try to cover it a lot, well, it's in a shop, and I was struggling with my back, and you just don't get to all of the details when you're not feeling right. And so overspray and junk would get on it. And like I said, I didn't have to do a lot to get that stuff off to put a shine back on it. Put a little bit on the headlight. Alright, let's let it dry. I might want to hit a few spots when I take the grill off. So yes, I'll have to get, that's always the old problem, is you got to get the junk off that's on the grills and plastic. I know they make some new products out there now. All right, we'll let it haze up. They do make some new products, not the back to black, but there are some other like cleaning products that will take the haze that you'll see from your wax job and remove that and nourish plastic and rubber. I don't know what they are, but I, just over the years of banging into stuff, I don't have a car anymore that's worthy of really caring. Although I do want to kind of hit the van with a good cleaning before the end of the year, and I'll do a little bit more work, probably go over the headlights again. With this tool. Let me catch up to you guys. Now Bleach goes, hey, his earbuds are dying. Charge them up! Yeah, wax on, wax off. Wax on, wax off. Yeah, let it dry. Which is, hi Rob and Brett. Yeah, it needs a little more time. The water, because it's damp today, so it's going to be a little bit before it gets really dry enough to rub out. You're supposed, let me see what it says, if I can read it. Yeah. Wash dry your car, shake well, apply damp cloth, one section at a time, let dry to haze, wipe off with clean cloth. It says, do not get on vinyl, plastic trim, wood, rubber. Yeah, that's the problem with a lot of this stuff. It used to say reapply. It doesn't say that anymore. Yeah, the biggest issue with anything is getting it on plastic and the haze it creates. So I'll work that another time. Yeah, it's just about hazed up. It's getting there. Stand by. Let's see what's come back to this so I could read. Bob Walker says, after a good sealer, it only takes a rinse and a water spot remover. Yeah, depending upon where you live, if you've got hard water. My water here is not bad, but I still would not want to leave it on any vehicle that I cared about. I'd want to get it off. Yeah, I remember the new Finish commercial back in the day. I'm getting old. Yeah, I remember that commercial. It is a good product. That's why it's still out there. And people are still using it. Let me close these bottles up. Maybe one day I'll have a nice car again. But since this was so bad, and the timing was just right, because the company was, kept saying to me, when are you going to do a video? I'm like, well, I'm busy. I'm doing stuff. And that's what happens is you get really busy doing things, and then, you want to do a product review. It's nice. I like this tool, I got to say. So what is my final thoughts? Well, I'll wait for that to dry, and we're getting close to the end of the video. My final thoughts are that it's actually a pretty damn good tool. It seems to be made well. And yeah, let me switch cameras back so I can show you more. That control, that cell phone, I have to switch over there because it's not plugged into my switcher. Considering all the stuff that it comes with, which you'll see when I do a video on it, where you kind of get a little bit more intimate, open box and whatever. Will it hold up in the long term? I don't know. I'm going to be using it. I had mentioned that I want to try putting a little sandpaper on it and doing like, sometimes with like lawnmowers and the bigger machines where you see blemishes, well, every now and then what I'll do on a machine I think is worthy of it is I'll take a bit of high build primer and I'll dump that on it. And I might want to come back and hand sand it real quick. And I think that's it. Just the high build primer, Krylon in the spray can, it's still inexpensive. Well, everything has gone up in price. And if it's a red machine, like I have the high build in black and I have it in red. And it's so close, like the red is so close to usually the top coat. And I'll remove a blemish or two here and there and I'll just dump it on. I'll let it dry, and then you got to hand sand it. But if it's like I want to restore another Toro, I just released a video on that Toro I cleaned up. But I got one that's all apart, personal pace, and I want to spray it and do a nice job on it. And I want to go over the transmission one more time, because that's actually one of my big videos, is going over a personal pace rear drive transmission. There's like 2 of them, and one of them is almost always, in the summer, it's almost always on my top 10 list. So it's probably worth it to me to do a few more Toros. The Toros do fairly well on my channel. So it's kind of worth it. And they come out so nice when you have all good parts. But when you see pimpling and stuff and stimpling, if you want a really nice paint job, you want to kind of level that a little bit and feather it. And if I had a little bit of sandpaper on something like this, because it is a random orbit, it has a bit of a random, it's not a lot. It'll just, and you're done. Next spot, and you're done. Next spot, and you're done. Instead of doing this by hand, I think it might be fun. They sell Velcro back. I have some in my cart, my wish list. Bleach says, I stayed up all night, one time playing air guitar, listening to Black Sabbath. Yeah. I remember the new Finish commercial back that says I'm getting old. Ninja Turtle wax. Yeah, I have some around. Yeah, I wanted to show you fellas. So these are just some old vintage cans from my day, back in the day. Speaking of turtle wax. Right, it's just a little bit bright in here, I know, on that camera. And then flip tone. Right, now these were really high quality, 14-ounce can. This is actual carnauba paste wax. Good luck. Okay, you got to do like a 6-inch area, put it on, and then get it off. Because if you don't do that, you're not getting it off. So this is actual carnauba wax, which is good for like guitars and furniture and stuff. But this is what we used to put on our cars back in the day, and it was hard work putting that stuff on. So like I saved those cans, and I wanted to show you fellas. This is earlier I was using, this is the Turtle Wax Premium Compound for professional results, and this actually works pretty good. I gotta say, I've used it. I used it on the Nova. We used it here, and it was a good transition to go from the 3M heavy duty, which I used. Let me get this other camera. I can't. I don't know what to tell you. It's too bright. That's because this camera's on automatic. And then I finished up with, this was from Summit from back in the day. This is a polish rubbing compound. So that's where you're going to get more of your polish from. And that's what we finished up with. All right, I think it's dry enough. It's definitely hazing up. All right, let's see the results. Oh, God. Wow. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a difference. Yeah, when I get this outside to give you guys the final look on the last video. Holy crap. Yeah, that's a shine. That's a shine a fella could be proud of. Oh yeah, the whole thing has got equal shine to it now. Because when I first started doing it, let me dial in the other camera. You get a modeling effect. Big difference. Because this, as this was coming up, this surface here, because it was so bad, and then down there was a little bit whiter and shinier, because it didn't see the sun and all the abrasion and junk. You could really tell the difference. Now it has more of the whole thing looks about the same. It's like the same level of shine, shininess and shine. Now what would look really pretty is the green hoods, whether on the Craftsman, which is paint, or I don't know if they use paint or an epoxy, or did they? I don't think they powder coated in those days. Or the John Deere's, even the plastic hoods. This would look really nice. This process would work very well. You need some kind of a buffer if you're going to do this. You're not pulling off a shine like this by hand, considering what I started with. There's just no way. Let's pop in the side pieces. No, wait, I'm going to wait on the side pieces because I want to take the grill back off. I think the side pieces overlap slightly. Let me see. Yeah, that looks good. I can't do a walk around because I don't have a camera free. Yeah, that looks good, fellas. What do I do with those? Well, these are the side pieces. So they're all clean. Now, if they don't overlap, they might. They might overlap. Yeah, they overlap a little bit over here. So I can't put them on just yet. Well, I'll just lay them. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. No, you won't see it. You might see it from this camera. But you could definitely see the shine. Let me drop the ISO down a little bit more. So it's a little less glary, even though it's dark, right? You can see the real shine that's come to it. I see that looks good. Let's take a look at the other camera. Yeah, you can get an idea with the Cub-Cadet thing over there. Plus I roll it in a manual. Yeah, we're done. Right, needs a little bit more cleaning, and the headlights are, for the most part, they're restored. They look real good. We're back to the same kind of clarity we were, but no scratches. So if you're willing to work at it a little bit, trying to do that by hand is insane, especially if you're going to start off with sandpaper. You're never going to get that clarity. I say overall it looks good. Let's back out the other camera. Oh yeah. What do you guys think? Let me see. Let me dial in the chat box. Ninja Turtle. I still have Turtle Wax. Yeah, I bet you do. And you have the Johnson Paste Wax. Wow. And we'll up the ice up just a touch. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Fortunately, I'm tired now, but if I sign off, I might want to spend a few extra minutes to take this back out, you know, off the hood and go rinse it. But I still think I'm going to have to wash it anyway because whatever, I'm sure some of it dried, and it's just going to be stained there. So I'm going to have to take it back off and clean it, and I can get off whatever I spilled there. But actually, this did not. I really didn't spend much time wiping this down here. And I'm wiping it with, well, a rag that still has compounds and stuff on it. So if I clean that properly, I don't think it really stuck to anything. It didn't seem to be a big problem. Well, I'm happy with it. You know, the snappers, a lot of that stuff can be waxed. And even for those, because of the weird surfaces. All right, let me swap the cameras again. We'll finish up. I'll sit down. Because of the tubes and everything, and as they start to get older, and all the weird surfaces, just gotta get off some of the stuff that was sitting out. I just clear it. It looks good, cleared. You know, why make yourself nuts? Yeah, like this stuff here. Use up the other one? Yeah. I think I cleaned it out. This one's almost empty. That's actually a little dark because there's a light. I can see it's in the shot. Or the engine enamel. 500 degree. And the engine enamel is better. More durable. Right? It's going to be designed for the oils and the gas spilling, especially after it has to dry. It tacks up real quick. That's why I like it. You can start working with your machine within 20 minutes to a half an hour, sometimes less if it's really nice out. So yeah, you could wax it. You can, anything with paint on it will make it nice again. Oh, there's all kinds of stuff going on today in the web. All right, fellas, I think we did good. I'm going to go kill it here now. And with the last little bit of energy in me, I think it's a good idea if I just pull this off, go wash it, put it back. Maybe I'll put a little wax in the area where it's covering. And be done with it. Let me just switch the camera view one more time. Yeah, she looks pretty. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Oh, Arkansas getting close to putting a whooping on us. Oh, Bravo's taking a break. Yeah, I'm real happy with that. Yeah, the last little bit of energy I have, I'll just straighten up in here a little bit. I'll take this off, go clean it out, put everything back on, and then I'm done. And I might do a live tonight. I don't know, it depends. I don't even know what time it is. I want to go and eat, and there's some nice stew in the house. And look, this helped out a lot, right? This comes with the kit. It should say Arch's Garage on it. But anyway, I'm done with this episode, and I had a lot of fun doing it. I just wanted to share with you guys my thoughts on restoring a nice old hood. And again, think well, not so much Snapper, but think John Deere, think Craftsman, think whatever, your guitar, whatever. You're going to need a couple of battery packs. I don't think they're all that expensive. I guess this is about $100 or something. I don't know. But it seems to be a durable tool, and it worked well. So I've been using it for a couple of days, and so it's not like foreign to me anymore. It feels good in the hand. You can't really stall it. You know, what else can I say? I mean, you're looking at, these are not professional tools. Saker's got a lot of stuff, and I would call them, they're not knockoffs, okay? It's not a knockoff Amazon tool. It's sold on Amazon like everything else today. Geez, you could buy cars on Amazon. It's a good higher level homeowner, hobbyist, enthusiast shop tool. And for smaller jobs like this, like I've been joking, I think it was one of the lives, I want to do my van. Now I'm not going to compound the van. I'm going to polish it in a couple of areas and drop wax on it with this. So I don't have to do this, rub it on and rub it off. And I think this will get through, we estimated maybe 2-3 batteries, right? To just apply like a polishing compound or a polishing wax or something like that. Something quick, get off the debris. You don't have to work your muscles in your hands as much as you would normally have to do because when you wax, like if you just wax the van, it's like waxing a house. It's like doing a boat. And it's exhausting. So anything you can do to help out. And I think with maybe 3 batteries, you'd have no problem. With 3 batteries, you could always have one on charge, and charging up, go to the next battery, and you'd have a backup. I think it'd be fine. So I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks to SmartSaker. That's www.smartsaker.com. Check them out. I'll have the links for that. And I got to put a link for Super Clean, because Super Clean is what got this thing clean, because it was really bad, and the pressure washer. I think it was a success, and I had a lot of fun doing it. I'll see you guys probably later on. If not, I'll see you on the next episode. Later, Arch's Garage.